Hey, it's Atlas. Time to sharpen up. Let's get into it. In 2004, the average person could focus on one screen for 2.5 minutes. Today, it's 47 seconds. Your attention span didn't get weaker over the years, it got trained. And right now, millions of people can feel it slipping. So they're fighting back with monk mode, winter arc, 75 hard, and no scroll September, all peeking across your feed at once. Different names, but it's really one single move underneath every one of them. In a world that feels completely out of control, they're trying to seize the one system they can still touch, their own brain. It looks like a dozen trends. It's actually one instinct. And the science says it works, right up until the point it's built to break you. These aren't 5 separate fitness fads. They're one psychological reflex, wearing 5 different outfits. Monk mode strips out every distraction, while winter arc runs a hard seasonal sprint toward spring. 75 hard hands, you a rigid daily checklist, and no scroll, September kills the feed entirely. But underneath all of them sits the exact same choice, radical self-control in a world that feels uncontrollable. So why is the entire internet locking in at the exact same moment? Psychologist Julian Rotter called it your locus of control, and it explains this perfectly. When the outside world feels chaotic and rigged, the economy, the climate, the algorithms, the brain reaches inward for something it can actually govern. A predictable routine becomes a psychological anchor, lowering perceived threat and quietly dropping your cortisol. You can't fix the economy, but you can hit your 5 a.m. alarm, and that's your nervous system saying, give me one thing I own. But control isn't the whole story. There's a deeper problem every one of these challenges is reacting to. Short-form video is a slot machine of micro-rewards, firing a little dopamine into your brain every few seconds. Flood the system long enough and your reward receptors downregulate, so ordinary life starts to feel flat, gray, and boring. Researcher Gloria Mark at UC Irvine measured it directly. Sustained attention on a screen fell from 2.5 minutes in 2004 to about 47 seconds today. You are not lazy and you are not broken. Your reward system was recalibrated on purpose by engineers who get paid when you can't look away. So here's the real question. What actually happens inside your brain when you finally lock in? 2 things happen together, and the first is that your prefrontal cortex regains top-down control over the impulse circuits, literally putting the adult back in charge. The second is that those overstimulated dopamine receptors slowly upregulate, recalibrating over roughly 2 weeks of reduced stimulation. And this kills a popular myth, because the viral one-day dopamine detox is nonsense. You simply cannot reset receptors in 24 hours. But the slower 2-week version is completely real, and that's the moment the quiet starts to feel good instead of unbearable. And that brings us to the number everyone gets wrong. Not 21 days, 66. Habits live in the basal ganglia as simple cue, routine, and reward loops, the brain offloading effort to save energy. The famous 21-day rule was never science, it was a plastic surgeon's offhand guess from the 1960s that went viral. Lally's research found that automation actually takes a median of about 66 days, and often much longer than that. That's the accidental genius of a 75-day format. The number that sounds insane is the one finally long enough to cross the line into autopilot. But the habit is only half of it. The streak hijacks 2 systems at once. The Zeigarnik effect means your brain keeps unfinished tasks active in working memory, so an open streak literally nags at you until it's closed. That nagging tension isn't stress, it's fuel, quietly pulling you back to the work. Then comes the deeper shift that James Clear calls identity-based habits. You move from, I'm trying to run, to I'm someone who doesn't miss, and every single rep becomes a vote for who you are. And here's the biggest payoff, the one nobody posts about. Boring life starts to feel good again. When your baseline finally drops, all the unglamorous stuff quietly comes back online. A real conversation, a good book, an hour of deep work, a slow walk, they start producing a reward signal again. This is the actual prize, and it was never the streak itself, it's the resensitization. The goal was never to suffer. It was to make a quiet Tuesday feel like enough again. So if the science is this strong, why does almost everyone quit and feel worse? Here's where they break you. 75 hard signature rule is brutal. One slip, and you go all the way back to day one. That weaponizes perfectionism, because the brain reads a single miss as total failure. Shame spikes your cortisol. You decide you've already ruined it, and then you drop out entirely. It's the same what the hell effect that blows up diets. One bad Tuesday erases 40 real days of progress. The second flaw looks like total dedication. It's actually a slingshot. Extreme monk mode means novelty deprivation, plus cutting off social connection, and both of those raise your baseline stress. Severe restriction sets up rebound binging, the exact backfire we see in crash dieting. The harder the clamp, the bigger the snap. There's a cousin to this too, the Delulu, hope core mindset that ignores all the feedback coming back at it. Bandura's self-efficacy says, grounded belief genuinely fuels effort, but confidence that won't look at the scoreboard is just delaying the crash. And the final flaw is the most counterintuitive of all. These challenges ban the one thing your brain needs most. Your default mode network only switches on during genuine rest and boredom. And that quiet network is exactly where memory gets consolidated and where creativity actually happens. So, a lock-in that bans all downtime is literally starving the very brain it's trying to sharpen. Insight doesn't show up while you grind. It shows up in the shower, on the walk, in the stare at the ceiling boredom these challenges train you to fear. Here's the twist. The reason it works and the way it breaks you are the same brain wiring pointed two directions. So let's keep the engine and fix the design. Rule 1. Pick one keystone habit, not 15, the single domino that knocks over the rest, because cognitive load kills compliance. Rule 2. Kill the day one reset and adopt never miss twice. A slip is data, not failure, so you're allowed to be human once, just never twice in a row. Rule 3. Schedule boredom and recovery on purpose, because protected downtime isn't the reward for the work, it's part of the work. Rule 4. Give it a 2 to 4 week recalibration window, then reassess, long enough to upregulate but short enough that it's a recalibration, not a prison sentence. Here's what nobody locking in this month is being told. Discipline was never supposed to feel like punishment. The whole point of lowering your dopamine baseline is so that ordinary life feels rewarding again. You're not depriving yourself. You're turning the volume back down so you can finally hear the quiet things. The viral version burns hot and breaks you by February, but the sustainable version is quieter, less postable, and is the only one still standing when the trend ends. Build the system, not the streak. The viral version asks how hard you can grind. The version that lasts asks how well you can recalibrate. Build that one, subscribe, and we'll do the science behind the discipline, not the hype on top of it.
Knowing it isn't enough. Go do it. Subscribe to Mindset Mechanics, and let's build that discipline together.